Derek walked into the office on a Monday morning and saw a name on the conference room whiteboard. Not his name, a guy who had been at the company for 8 months. 8 months. Derek had been there for 4 years. He set his coffee down, sat at his desk, pulled up his emails like nothing happened. But something had happened, and the worst part? He had no idea why. His reviews were clean, his projects were delivered. His manager, Kevin, had never once pulled him into a difficult conversation, never flagged a concern, never given him a single reason to think something was wrong. So how does a guy with a spotless record keep getting skipped? Here is the answer, and it has nothing to do with your performance. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I am saving the most important piece for last, the thing that actually changes your career trajectory, the piece most people never figure out until years have already passed. This video is educational content. Not all managers operate this way, and not all HR professionals are the same. But the organizational system most people work inside, it has mechanics, hidden ones, and they are running right now, whether you see them or not. So, let us get into it. Now, here's the first thing that will shift how you see your entire work environment. When you go quiet at work, your manager does not feel relieved. They get nervous. And that nervousness, it turns into a career decision that affects you, one you never see coming. Here's the mechanics behind it. Every manager is playing 2 simultaneous games, the game with their team below them and the political game with leadership above them. And the single most damaging thing that can happen to a manager standing with leadership is being blindsided. Think about what that looks like in a real office. Kevin is in a leadership meeting on a Thursday afternoon. His VP turns to him and says, "I heard Derek might be looking to leave. What do you know about that?" And Kevin has nothing, no context, no prior signal, no conversation to reference. That moment, right there, is Kevin's nightmare. Not because he cares deeply about Derek, because he just looked uninformed in front of his VP, and looking uninformed in front of leadership is one of the fastest ways to lose credibility at the management level. The Harvard Business Review published research showing that managers who lack consistent visibility into their team's engagement and career expectations are rated significantly lower in effectiveness by their own leadership. Not because they're bad managers, because they got caught without information. Here's what that means for you. When you vent, when you share frustration, when you express a career concern, you're actually giving your manager cover. You're letting them get ahead of the situation. You're giving them something to say upstairs. When you say nothing, you take that away. And your silence does not read as contentment. It reads as risk. From your manager's chair, a quiet employee looks like this. Could be completely satisfied. Could be 1 bad week away from resigning. Could be already talking to another department. Could be building a case for HR. There is no way to tell. You are a sealed room, and in a corporate environment, sealed rooms do not get promoted, they get moved. That is exactly what happened to Derek. Kevin could not explain him to anyone above, so when the VP asked who should lead the new initiative, Kevin gave a name he could speak to confidently. Derek was qualified, but Kevin couldn't tell that story, so someone else got the room. This next part is where most people get genuinely uncomfortable, because it is about something no manager will ever say to your face. When you stop needing your manager, you become a problem they did not expect. Here's what I mean. A manager's sense of professional security, their feeling of relevance inside the organization, is built significantly on being needed. They need to feel like they are shaping trajectories, influencing outcomes, developing people. When you share ambition, they feel like they're guiding it. When you express frustration, they feel like they are solving it. When you ask for direction, they feel like they are leading. You, the self-sufficient, quiet employee, you take all of that away without meaning to. You deliver before being fueled. You solve problems before they surface. You never come to Kevin with a concern because you already handled it. And consciously, Kevin will tell anyone who asks that this is exactly what he wants in an employee: autonomous, reliable, independent. But here is what gets processed at the level where professional insecurity actually lives. Kevin cannot point to his influence on your development. He has not shaped your career path. He has not been part of your growth story. And if you get elevated, he cannot take any credit. That is not a neutral feeling for a manager whose value to the organization is supposed to be his ability to develop and retain talent. A 2022 McKinsey report on employee attrition identified poor perceived engagement as one of the primary invisible drivers of high performer stagnation. Not poor performance, poor visibility. Managers consistently rated self-sufficient employees lower on team contribution metrics, not because of what they did, but because of how little signal they gave off. So what does Kevin do with that discomfort? He does not examine it, he reframes it. He starts describing you in meetings as solid but hard to read, good worker, not sure he's leadership material, reliable but not sure how invested he is in the long term. None of that is about your work. All of it is about his inability to account for you. And the organization will follow that narrative every time. Here is the layer that sits underneath everything else. And this one drives more quiet career ceilings than almost anything else in corporate America. Organizations can't function around people they cannot predict. Think about how leadership actually plans. They need to know who is ready for more responsibility, who will hold up under a hard pivot, who will step into a leadership gap if one opens, who is a retention risk going into a tough quarter. To answer those questions, they build mental models of their people. The employee who communicates gives the organization enough signal to build that model. Their ambitions are on record. Their frustrations are visible. Their responses to pressure have been observed. Even their resistance is predictable, and predictable resistance can be planned around. The quiet employee breaks that model entirely. They cannot be confidently deployed to a sensitive initiative. They cannot be considered for a stretch assignment. They cannot be treated as a sure bet for anything because no one has enough signal to make a confident call. Dr. Adam Grant, organizational psychologist at the Wharton School of Business, has written extensively about professional legibility, the degree to which your values, thinking, and ambitions are visible to the people around you. His research shows consistently that legibility, not just performance, is one of the primary drivers of career advancement in complex organizations. You can be the highest performer in the building and still get left behind if no one can describe you accurately in a room you are not in. That room exists right now. Your name comes up in it.
That room exists right now. Your name comes up in it. The only question is what gets said when it does. So here is what you do. And this is the part I promised to save for the end. The fix is not to become louder. The fix is to become deliberate. There is a version of quiet that reads as depth, and there is a version that reads as disengagement. One gets you promoted, the other gets you contained. The difference is in what surrounds your silence. First, make yourself legible without making yourself loud. One specific, well-timed sentence in a one-on-one that shows your actual thinking. One question in a team meeting that signals you are processing a layer below everyone else in the room. One observation per month that gives your manager something real, something quotable, something they can carry into a conversation above you. Not a performance, a calibrated signal. Quiet the rest of the time. Second, give your manager something to say about you when you are not in the room. One clear, specific insight per quarter. Something about the direction of the work, a pattern you noticed, a smarter way to frame the problem the team is solving. Something that sticks. A manager who has something impressive and accurate to say about you becomes an advocate in rooms you will never enter. A manager who has nothing defaults to describing you as solid but vague. Solid but vague does not move anywhere. It stays exactly where it is. Third, make your silence read as precision, not absence. The person who speaks rarely but reframes the entire discussion when they do. The person who listens visibly in a way others are not. The person whose few contributions carry more weight than everything said before them. That silence reads as a deliberate, high-signal choice. As James Baldwin wrote, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." Derek eventually understood what had happened to him. He did not become someone who filled every room with noise. He became someone who chose his moments and made them count. One framed insight per conversation with Kevin. One question per meeting that showed he was thinking a level deeper. Within a year, he was off the sideline and leading his own team. The organization did not change. Derek became visible inside of it. Your silence was never the problem. The problem is that you left it unframed, and an organization will always write its own caption under a blank space. Write your own caption before someone else does. Because right now, somewhere in a meeting you are not in, your name is coming up. The only question is whether the person saying it is using your words or their own assumptions. Do not let another quarter pass while the wrong story finishes writing itself about you. If this hit close to home, drop a comment below. Like this video if it gave you something real to think about, and subscribe because this channel is built for exactly this. No sugarcoating, no corporate spin, just the mechanics of how the system actually works and how to move inside of it. See you in the next one.